Look at me now. Look at me now. Oh, I'm getting paper. Look at me now. Oh, look.
Yellow. Welcome back to the channel. Guys, welcome. I am here to bestow upon you all the wisdom and knowledge that you don't care about. You see the funny title here. Hopefully I enticed you enough to click, and you didn't just click because it's a Koopa video, but I appreciate you either way, whether you're the ops, the friends, the families, the lovers, whatever you are. Today I'm going to bestow upon you some knowledge while just grinding, doing some random things in Dragon Quest. The sky high fitness calls, you know what I'm saying? We gotta hit that grind every single day. Of course, lately I've been sort of slacking on my Dragon Quest, but even as I look at it now, I'm just I long for the mines, you know what I'm saying? So I'll get back in there. You just have to realize, you know, when the progression is getting to you a little bit. And yeah, I'm sort of realizing why people tend to crash out. And we'll just delve directly into our topics and events of the day. From there, that's a pretty good segue if I'd ever say so myself. Guys, the world is designed to make us crash out. Let's just be real. Let's just cut it, brass tacks of it all. And of course, you always hate it when the social media stars say this. Although I am far and out from a social media star, I feel like if I deserve that popularity, then it's probably already here, which scares the fuck out of me. But that's beside the point. It's always the damn phones, man. It's always the damn phones, and it's always the damn social media that really causes us to crash out. But it's not, you know, the actual use of them. It's what is naturally perpetuated, pushed, you know, led to believe that this is the right and proper way to do things. And honestly, guys, there's so many ways to be successful. You kind of just have to define it for yourself. Before you can even think of reaching the pinnacle of some kind of achievement to brag about. But yeah, that's the thing about it, man. I feel like it's just not for everybody. You know, it's not for every archetype. Yet they act like the American dream is something that anybody can indeed achieve. And it's this little disconnect from reality that really drives the whole the crash out, if you will, you know, and I'll get into a little bit deeper of this with a little bit of a real life analogy, a real life internet analogy, because I really hate to bring the people that I actually know into this. So, you know, I'll just bring the internet stars that I interact with in here, you know, slightly, but, you know, we're not really friends, more of coworkers in that sense. But yeah, let me delve into my examples of this. Guys, I watch a lot of VTubers. As you can see here, we have Powder, we have Kitsunero, and then there's just a random Pokemon guy. Don't mind him. But yeah, I am gonna talk about my discovery of a particular VTuber last year, Retro Riona. I started following her during the Mega Man marathon, and the story of how, you know, they sort of became a streamer, VTuber in the first place is quite interesting. You see, it's more of like a manic tale of why the fuck not, you know? And from there, they just sort of grew and built in a stable way from doing what they love. And what this sort of got me to realize is that even still, you know, doing the streamer thing and grinding pretty much, like before I was, you know, obviously following pretty much like every freaking day, you know, and just putting their heart to the stone, you know, being authentic, doing their own thing. It really just generally isn't respected by the public, you know, until you're already too high, too far off to even be reachable by people. You know, you're too deep in that obsession to even, you know, understand what normal life is like. You know, it's really not acknowledged or even respected until then. And I've definitely noticed that with this channel. It's a little bit annoying, but yeah, it's the whole, you know, they're gonna hate you until they love you kind of thing. And I realize this because I do the thing. You guys know what I do. I have the music play in the Spotify, the MP3 player, and then I just turn the stream on, listen to some songs, listen to some video game music, and then I make the combinations. But, you know, as I was doing that, I was listening to some Chris Breezy, which you can tell by the title, the wonderful song of Look at Me Now, and just some of the lyrics in that song, you know? One in particular really hit me, where it was like, I get what you get in 10 years in 2 days. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, this is a clear example of the fact that society does not value or acknowledge the progression while you're in it. You know, they don't like the journey, man. They don't like to look at the journey because it reminds them of what they're not doing, what they could just naturally get at. And this is why I say, you know, really grind on your purpose. But guys, be serious about yourself. If you don't like, you know, a specific part of this workout or this plan or this job or whatever, just fucking quit, man. Just retard max it. Like you really don't have to do a specific set of workouts to get your ideal body. You just have to get active, right? You don't have to, you know, have a specific job to get to the ideal career. You just have to do something that's related to it that earns you money. And that's the thing about life. There's so many ways to do the same thing, and a lot of people will pigeonhole themselves into it, you know, like relationships, girlfriends, jobs, whatever, because they don't think they can get anything else. And I assure you, man, this world is very scary, especially now, to change or to do different things. But you're gonna hate yourself, especially in this age, if you lock in on something that doesn't fully serve you. You will. It is what happened to me. It's what happened to me multiple times. And so this is sort of your warning to love your progress. And we'll get into more examples of how to avoid the general crash outs, to get out of those nesting holes that we often find ourselves in social media. But for now, I really want to get into these examples of it. You see, like Riona, like I said, the Mega Man Marathon went very well. You know, it's very acknowledged that it's a cool thing, but not just because like, oh, I gained a bunch of subscribers or I did blah, blah, blah. But you know, you could actually see them getting better at the game. And the entire time, while I'm like noticing them slowly get better and better at platformers, you see everybody in chat just like backseating and being like, here's a guide, and being like, here's a thing, and just do this thing. How do you know how to do this thing? Like nobody was just letting them live and do it. And this happens with like not just, you know, of course Riona. I've heard of stories. This wasn't here on this stream or during this era of Frostbite Live, but I often hear the story of the first Zelda game that they played, and just the rabid backseaters for Zelda, and Zelda in general. You know, I feel like if you're not doing a randomizer, even if you are doing a randomizer, people are like rabid about people playing the game inoptimally, and it's the same with MMOs. It's like they don't value that you just want to learn organically. You want to try and figure it out your way. They want the ending. They want the dessert without the meal in a certain way. And this is a pathetic tactic. This is the tactic of the weak. This is the tactic of people who just inherently think they are entitled to wonderful things in life because of the way the world is set up. It's set up to adhere to the gooner, especially the video game industry nowadays, to adhere to the normal leveled, you know, smooth-brained gooner who just wants to get the treat, wants to get the participation trophy, wants to try and immediately succeed. And that's never been me. I honestly and wholeheartedly, I've said this multiple times, but I do like failing. I do. And I feel like this is why I generally just say what I want to in terms of like this channel. And I try to give whatever I can to be the authentic person that I've always wanted to be, because I realize oftentimes the reason why I've been such a fake person to, you know, the people in my lives and the things that are around me is because it's really the only energy that you get from the world, especially when you are attractive, especially when you have, you know, a goal, a gift, especially when people realize that you're here for a higher purpose than just to be their friend and hang around them. And a lot of people realize that before I did. Very bad, very not good. And hopefully you guys realize what your purpose is. If you don't have one, you can realize your purpose is to find your purpose, and just be careful with who you hang around, especially if you have an attractive personality, which I feel like you probably do. You're here on this random YouTube pool. I still don't think I'm that popular, so I think it's hard to find these videos. But you tell me, man. I don't know. I think the lack of mutual respect for a lot of people, no matter where they are, because we're all just humans, is a huge problem, and leads to crash outs. Like I said, it's undichotomous to the actual world. And I grew up in a high school where, you know, the girl that I really liked just idolized Chris Brown and Chris Breezy for some reason, and I'm like, he's just a fucking guy, you know. And then on top of that, he's a guy who fucking will beat the shit out of you. But maybe that's why they idolized him in the first place. And you got to realize, man, there is nobody who is inherently above you besides God, and God is within you. So yeah, there's no man above you. You can get to any level you want. The problem is that we really don't want to get there. The reason why we want to reach all these crazy pinnacles and things is because of the phones. The phones, and here I go, I know, you're so mad at me. Why does you keep talking about that damn phone? I don't, why is everybody telling me to quit the phone? I also don't think we're really in this era of people being mad at people for telling you to get off the phone. I feel like we're all kind of trying to actually get off the phone, honestly. But I will tell you, it definitely leads to you feeling like an AI. It kills your humanity because you don't understand that all these people with all the highlight reels and shit, they have bad days just like you. They have good days just like you. You know, they have days just like you. And we're just regular people trying to live our lives. The phones, though, because they are commonly the only place we interact, they convince us of another story. And that's the thing, guys. I really have to step outside of it and be a little bit disconnected from, you know, the YouTube channel, the communities in general, because of the phones. They protrude this false reality, especially when you're attractive. And I'm sorry I keep telling you, and I'm a sexy beast, but reality is reality, man. Some of us are got it, and some of us do not. That is why I use a Koopa avatar. You don't need to see my fucking face, okay? And the sleeping around thing is really what's ruining things for people, I feel, and I am tired of it. I was a victim of it. Well, victim, you know, a patron of it, if you will, because I thought I was really, you know, a detriment to society if I didn't sling the dick around. It's like, oh man, these women need this shit, okay? They need it more than I do. Which inherently is kind of true, but we're not gonna get into that right now. It's the male key thing, you know. It's like my key can fit into any lock, but at the same time, you don't want to corrupt a bunch of locks so that we have a bunch of crazy, disturbed, you know, open locks running around the place. Okay, some things need to be locked up. All right, let's be real. And with this magic key power, I have to be a little bit more discerning with who I allow in. I'll tell you guys, we're being real honest. We're being real vulnerable here on the 14th when I am recording this. So Valentine's Day, I do feel like getting a little vulnerable. I did indeed about a year ago get an STD because of the just rampant, you know, undiscerning love for everyone. I'm just like, yeah, you want to, it's fine, you know, whatever, I don't give a shit. And attitudes like that really lead to you following this dishonest social hierarchy that really in the end doesn't matter. Like, it has nothing to do with this channel or my music career or me dancing or me understanding myself. It's just some stupid fun, and that's how I've always treated it. That's why I've always get a lot of ass. It also is because of the way I look and the tallness and shit. But that's beside the point, guys. The main reason for this, the crash outs and shit, as I'm wrapping up here, as we're slowly finishing our grind, we got to kill a few more slimes and then collect some stuff. It's the disconnect, and it's the fishing. You know, people fish so dishonestly. I feel like this is definitely a thing for attractive guys, but for anybody who has something that you want, you know, you're not just gonna tell them, you know, outright, hey man, you got that thing I want, give me that. That's not how the fucking world works. It's ever since women came into the workforce, that has never been how people get what they want. It's always deceit. It's always some form of deception. Even me having this YouTube channel, you know, it's a certain form of deception that I have to entail to get you to click the damn video, because these aren't regular gaming videos, guys. These aren't the funny, dunny, oh, we're gonna play Dragon Quest and I'm gonna tell you a bunch of jokes, boopity boop. That's not it. I gotta trick your ass with a cool video, with a cool intro, with a cool thumbnail, an interesting title. You know, I'll probably put Chris Brown's face on here for some reason. You know, it's like that. And I understand the reality of social media and how it's probably never going to, you know, completely fade. But I think it's inherently bringing in a lack of humility in people. And it's killing the humanity of our community. And I don't think there's really a way to get rid of the narcissistic tendencies that come from it. I really don't. I think you just gotta have to disconnect. You gotta take walks outside, but mostly, you know, you have to really go outside. You know, do your exercise, whatever you want, however you want. You know, nature is not for everybody, but definitely, this is not optional. Take some pauses, please, for the love of God. Take some pauses with some silence. I understand if you're in a very hectic environment, a very noisy house, you know, and you can't really get the silence that you need, then maybe you should probably, you know, delve into going to some nature, maybe sit in your car. But like the moments of silence, especially before we act on impulse or anger or high emotion, just take a quick pause, you know? At first it can be hella brief. It can be 5 to 10 seconds, but just think with yourself, have no stimulation, and just honestly say, what am I feeling right now? Because oftentimes social media is going to be very dishonest with us, with our initial feelings, because that's, once again, the way it's designed. It's trying to make you crash out. Your job is trying to make you crash out. Your girlfriend is trying to make you crash out. And it's because of the care that we hold for other people. I know if you're here, you probably have a lot of fear that you're never gonna make it, that life is just gonna keep beating your ass, you know? And you gotta hold on to that fear. Never really let it go, because it's good. It's a good fear. I'm not saying you should not do anything. You should have that fear and still act. But you see, the fear is just an indication that you still care. All right, that you're still human, that you're still here for the betterment of others and not just yourself. Okay, if you had no fear, then that would basically just mean you don't care not only about others, but about your own life. And that's not right. That's not inherently good. And I realize the reason why I really want to leave this earth is because a lot of people don't see fear that same way. A lot of people see it as weakness. A lot of people see my silence as weakness. A lot of people see a lot of things that I do as inherently deceitful. And I'm sick of explaining myself to people who, you know, are going to intentionally misinterpret what I'm giving them. So hopefully you're not intentionally misinterpreting it. But that's one of the reasons why I don't promote these videos either. You know, I want people who want to listen, to find them. I don't want random people to you know, in my life to watch 5 seconds of the video and then click off and be like, oh yeah, what an asshole. Why did he say that about my phone? I don't need to fucking listen to this fucking loser Koopa who thinks he's all cool. He's not even a fucking real person or the real fucking blah blah. Jeez, I'm crashing out so hard. Guys, what you really just need to realize is that you gotta check out. You gotta check out, you know? It has to be a strategic checkout because, of course, you can't really leave everything behind. But slowly and surely, just shave off the things that don't serve you. Those people and those wonderful things that we love will stay if they're gonna benefit us, and then they'll leave if they're not. But you're gonna come to these realizations by just having a lot of silence, having a lot of time to talk with God, which again is in you. It's not something different from you. It's right there between your bosom. Or your chest. It is right there in your heart. And so give it some time, give it some space to breathe, please. And I feel like doing that will definitely lead us to I don't know, anti-destruction? What's the opposite of being destroyed? Definitely not enlightenment. I'm not going to tell you any of that shit because that's false hope. Honestly, it's not for everybody, you know? And you're going to get better, of course, by doing this, but I'm not going to tell you you're going to reach, you know, thousands of dollars of wealth. You know, your soul can be saved, but we can also turn into a Job, and the world is honestly a fucking joke in the way that, like I said, the progress is never fucking valued, right? So I know a lot of you guys who are looking for this are like, I want to rise immediately and right now. And sure, man, sure. But I want you to realize that the pauses, the time in between, and obviously the work that we're doing is really the prize. And that's it. That's about it. You know, there's nothing else for us in this life, you know, besides, of course, this moment that we're sharing right now and the pause that you're going to take afterwards. And yes, I told you to take a pause afterwards. And now that I've said it, you're definitely going to do it. And I appreciate that. But that's about all we have, man. I want you to realize that. I want you to hold peace with that, you know, and hopefully you'll find your purpose. You'll find what you need to do, talk to God a little bit more, and just make it all a little bit more congruent. That's about it for today. This has been an interesting one. Hopefully we'll do more like this. It's not gonna be the MMO sleep. It's just gonna be a random podcast episode of grinding and whatnot. I'm gonna take this channel a lot less seriously now. I don't know when MSQ is gonna come back, but when it does, we'll be rocking it, baby. Once again, this was recorded on Valentine's Day. I'm definitely not going to upload it today, but whenever I do upload it, I hope you have a good day, whatever day it is, and I will see you next time.